Okay, so today I'm doing my own podcast. So Sabrina's not gonna be here. She'll have her own We're doing this thing of like having a solo podcast where we can just do whatever topic we want. And so today I chose to talk about Frank Ocean's Blonde. You may have heard it or you may have not, but there's a difference between hearing and actually listening to the album. Um, I think this album is a masterpiece. I'm gonna unpack the story and explore how it kind of resonates with me and potentially with you as well. This is gonna be like a think piece or like a meta analysis of how it like sits within his discography and stuff like that. It's gonna be more of a personal interpretation of the songs, the story, and then their progression throughout the story. But I do want to say this. Frank Ocean gets a lot of slack for the fact that he hasn't dropped an album since. But I think that when you drop something this good, like literal perfection as a musician, I think my job is done, My job is finished. I wouldn't want to drop anything else. So the album opens with Nikes, just a sonic supernova that kind of just sets the tone of what you're about to hear. His lyrics kind of in this song suggest like a relationship in a limbo state where it's neither terrible but it's also not giving you that euphoric feeling. So it's more about those middle of the road type connections where the meaning is kind of elusive. But then towards the end he says, "I'm not him, but I mean something to you." Mean something to you, which kind of captures that universal, I think, post breakup rebound phase that people have, where like you lean on a new relationship to heal. Like you're talking to this one person, it's not really going anywhere, but it's kind of just the middle ground where it's not terrible. It's the point where you want to stop, but it's also not particularly great. It's just, eh. I think healing is a solo journey, and so you can't really do that when you're in another relationship. But I think that's just how it is these days. So the duality of like vulnerability and detachment is a very painful yet relatable message that he conveys in the intro song. So yeah. Then at the end he says, "You gotta roll me, he'll hear what we do. It's only awkward if you're fucking into." And that's the last line. I feel like a lot of relationships are in this state of limbo where even if you're together, you're not really like fully secure. A lot of the time, because it's so normalized, right, to just be messing around. I thought that's a funny way to end this song. I've had a Nikes person. I thought that I was dreaming when you said you love me. The start of nothing. I had no chance to prepare. I couldn't see you coming. Ivy. Just the warmth of the guitar chords from the start of the song. I think it just transports you to that feeling you had with your first love, right? It starts so nostalgically and then shifts to more bittersweet regret where he's like, "I broke your heart last week, you'll probably feel better by the weekend." This raises questions about how real the connection was. Because the song's beauty lies in its duality, right? Even painful love can leave us with positive memories. The whole song is just Frank reminiscing of his first love and kind of just how it went bad, basically. Personal anecdote: on my first time actually hearing this song, I was listening to it, and then the person I was talking to at the time had come up to me and was like, "What are you listening to?" I gave her my other AirPod, and I played the song from the start. And I kind of just locked eyes, and then there was just this whole moment. I think that's exactly what the song tries to convey, right? It was kind of like art brought to life, at least in my case. So I really like the song. But then the second part about feeling better by the weekend, that's what makes you question the reality of it all, right? Because if it was real, then you wouldn't already feel better by the weekend. It will take a lot longer. In general, just the song captures that bittersweet feeling of a love gone bad, but you still remember the good stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
my god, pure euphoria in sound form. I think this song is about the pinnacle of a relationship where everything just feels forever, feels immortal, and he uses that word immortal in the song. Personally, I want my future wife walking down the aisle to the song, and I promise you that I will cry. Like I will bawl my eyes out if I see her walking down the aisle to Pink and White. I think it's just such a beautiful. He sings about reaching the top of a hill, um, or like this metaphorically saying that there it's all downhill from here, and that could have, I guess, two meanings, depending on, I guess, where you are in life and how you view the song, which is why I also think this is a great album, but we'll get to that later. Yeah, it could mean either that nothing will surpass this high. That's more of the optimistic understanding of it, where like you've climbed, you've done all the hard work, right, climbing to the top of the hill, and it's all downhill from here. It's all smooth sailing. The easy part of a hike is the downward descent. And then obviously the more pessimistic understanding of it would be that you've reached the best of the best. Like this is the highest you'll be in terms of an emotional connection with your person, and you kind of have this glooming feeling that it's about to go to shit because nothing else will top what you've just experienced in that moment. I personally prefer the more optimistic interpretation, but banger of a song.
Many college students have gone to college and gotten hooked on drugs, marijuana, and alcohol. Listen,
This is the first interlude we have in the album, and it's Frank's mom. This is not the first time we hear from Frank's mom, where she's telling him, giving him advice about staying true to himself and avoiding vices in college. It's right after Pink and White, so it feels like more like a reminder to like ground yourself as he's perhaps navigating the heartbreak from the girl, or the person from Ivy, right? Because it kind this song is a key moment because it kind of gives a bit more context to the story that we've been hearing so far. So the way I like to imagine it is that he's met this girl or this person from the Ivy song. He's talked about how it was good, but then obviously it ended badly. In Pink and White, I think it's him describing how high the highs were in that relationship, and now he's gone to college, and now it's his mom kind of telling him, "Hey, I know you might be going through this breakup, but stay away from drugs, stay away from alcohol, um, just be yourself." Trying to, I guess, help him out of this rut. But hearing this, what does Frank do?
Hand me a towel, I'm dirty dancing by myself, gone off tabs of that acid. Form me a circle, watch my Jagger. Might lose my jacket and hit a solo one time.
He does the complete opposite and ignores every single piece of advice that his mom gave him in the previous song. Solo kind of just captures that chaos post breakup. He's indulging in vices, seeking solace, but finding just emptiness. Because he's solo, like by himself. And yeah, that might be a good thing because he's able to do whatever he wants. He's solo, not only like relationship wise, but also like independent, right? He's in college, so he's solo, but he's also so low, as in like it's a low moment in his life, and he uses that kind of wordplay throughout the song, which I thought was really cool. I think this song marks like a start of a darker chapter, both obviously sonically and then thematically with the narrative of the story. Personally, I think you kind of don't realize that it's an unhealthy way of processing things, because you're looking for that temporary relief. And you're trying to take off whatever it is that's on your mind that you don't realize the harm that it's doing to you because you're so in yourself, you're so solo.
This is joy, this is summer. Keep alive. Stay alive. Got your
Skyline 2 is kind of a change from what we just heard in Solo, where it's more of emotional numbness. It feels like you can hear that also through the sound. He's gliding through time, stuck in his routine, unable to connect deeply with with this new person he's having a relationship with, right? The lyrics suggest that monotony of just moving without truly healing, where he uses like a pretty long third gear in this car. And if you drive manual, basically you can be in a gear for a very long time without having to shift. And then in that moment, you just feel like you're just gliding on the road, right? Like nothing more is happening. Um, which I think is a cool concept to bring up for your car guys out there. And yeah, it seems like he's with someone, but there's no like in his lyrics in the song, there's no deepness emotionally in what he's saying about this relationship. So you can kind of tell like in comparison with Ivy and Pink and White that we've just heard that it's not the same level of emotional connection. He's just in this because he's moving on but not truly healing. And that idea is confirmed in the very next song.
Poolside convo about your summer last night. Ooh, yeah. About your summer last night. I give you no play. Could I make it shy last night? Could I make it shy on the last night?
In Self-Control, he's kind of confronting his ex, and we can imagine that's the person from Ivy who's now moved on because she's seeing someone. And in the song, he's kind of just saying, I guess, professing his love for her. And it kind of sounds crazy, but I guess it gets to a point when you haven't healed and the other one has, where you start feeling crazy, right? He says, which kind of captures that desperation that you feel in that situation of unreciprocated love. So the song just on its own kind of just underscores that emotional toll of not letting go and kind of contrast that lingering feelings with her healthier progressions. So ultimately, he did take that solo break, but it wasn't good for him in the end because he's seen his ex again, and now he's brought up all these feelings that he was previously bottling up. Ultimately, it doesn't work out, obviously, because she's moved on. And so he's kind of just accepting that I know you gotta leave. So now we were really getting into the thick of it, of him going through this breakup where like he's tried the solo thing, it hasn't worked. He's confronted his ex to try to get back together, and that hasn't worked. So I mean, what does he do now, you know?
Is a good guy, he hooked it up.
He goes on a blind date with this guy. That's what a good guy is about. He goes on this blind date that is a failed one. The song brings to surface his emotional unavailability and the fact that he's been on this blind date, but he hasn't felt anything. He's with a good guy, but it's just not bringing out any feelings in him. For me, that kind of emphasizes the fact that time really is the only healing medicine for a breakup, right? Because trying to go on new dates without having that time to heal for yourself, even if they're a good person that you're on the date with, just it won't add anything, right? And then the second part of the song, which is interesting, is
This nigga, all the bitches in the neighborhood want to fuck this nigga. You told me. I used to fuck with all of them.
Yeah, I ain't got bitches no more.
But now I don't care about bitches like that, my nigga. That shit, Jasmine fucking wrecked my heart. I don't even know how to feel about bitches.
like a voice recording of a player undone by love, which kind of adds another layer to the album's theme of vulnerability, right? This person used to be the man of the streets, and then this girl named Jasmine broke his heart, and now he doesn't even like fuck with women anymore. I think it's quite funny. I personally haven't been a player, but I can relate to the fact of like going through something so terrible where you don't even feel like wanting to be in a relationship anymore, where it's like fuck that, I'm never doing that ever again, and you kind of just close up and never open up ever again, which is also a very healthy thing to do, but it's just what happens. It's life.
Round your city, round the clock. Everybody needs you.
Now we've gotten to the trademark two-part Frank Ocean song. I think every two-part Frank Ocean song is amazing. My favorite one being Pyramids. But Nights is also a really, really good two-part song. Um, the first part is kind of still about the heartbreak, and then the second part more about survival, right? So the first part he's more like reminiscing on the past relationships, while the second shifts to like his financial struggles with being like a college kid and having to work an extra job. So he's like staying at a lover's place in the meantime, and he kind of acknowledges that, saying that if he had money, they probably wouldn't be together, which is kind of an interesting relationship to be in, right? That you're kind of like it's a symbiotic relationship where you're giving the other person an emotional sexual release and they're helping you financially. I guess that could also be an allusion to kind of our how transactional relationships are these days. I don't know, but it's an interesting song, and I really love the way the beat switches in the middle. Genius. He touches on themes of like how it can get repetitive, the cyclical nature of life when he's just in that grind mode. And I think as a college kid, you kind of understand that, right? Every day shit, every night shit, and he just keeps saying it over and over again in the choruses, which I think is a very powerful way of conveying that. Because then it starts to fade away, because like you start doing it so much, you start to not even notice it anymore. It's just like fading away into the distance. You become more and more. And but more on the switch. It's kind of like obviously a switch in the song, but also a switch, I think, emotionally for him, where he's kind of saying he's letting go of that old life with his feelings for that old love and kind of starting anew, where it's more of like him now in the real life, you know. He says new beginnings. But we'll see how well that holds up as the album's narrative continues.
So now I'm solo that I can see under the skirt of an ant. Solo that I don't get high no more when I try no more. I just go hand.
Spoiler alert, he's solo again. But in this solo track, it's Andre 3K kind of giving a monologue. So it's the only song on the album where you don't hear Frank Ocean's voice. I think it's a really cool way to kind of switch up the creative direction of the album, but still keeping the narration of the whole thing, right? You know, he's just offering in the song Andre 3K just offering his raw commentary and authenticity in his self-reliance, where like it's not perfect, but it's just what he's going through right now, right? Solo that he doesn't even get high no more, or solo that he can see on the scale of an ant. And he's kind of again using that idea of solo on my own, but also solo, like as in low, which is good. He's also talking about like financial problems where he has to save, but when you're in that depressive rut, you kind of end up spending a lot more money through retail therapy or like buying drugs and stuff like that. So it's a really cool track that kind of breaks up the sonic consistency in the album, but in a really cool way.
To the edge I race, to the end I make it. All the risk I'll take it. Head bang with my four friends, we pour a taste out for the dead. This is the blood, the body, the life right now. The hype right now might be what I need. Might be what I need. Said you wanna hurt me now. You can't hurt me now. That might be what you need. What is it
I think Pretty Sweet is an underrated track on the album. I really like how it starts like so convoluted with the scratches and the electric guitar, whatever instrument that is. And then it kind of clears up, and then it's just Frank singing and the angelic voices. Oh my god. I guess it's kind of like a turning point again. A lot of turning points in this album, but where I think he switched sides. It's clear that he switched sides because he says literally that I'm on this side now. Like fuck the other side, I'm on this side. It could either be like he's done with um that kind of cycle of being solo, finding someone, being solo again, and now he's just gonna live his life. So between like I guess death and life, being more alive than he was before. It could also be that I'm on this side because obviously Frank Ocean is bisexual, so he's I guess done messing with one gender and he wants to see maybe he'll have more success with the other. I don't know. It could also mean um that he's found God and now he's on the light side, and kind of trying to build a relationship with God. There are a lot of ways to interpret this song and what it means for the story, which is why I think it's a pretty underrated track because it's 2 minutes long. There's not a lot of content in it, and it's easy to just think of it as a filler song. But I think it's such an important part of the whole narrative. He says, "Fathers of us, be kind." Again, that could be a thing about him asking help from God to like navigate through this because clearly doing it his way or doing it on his own hasn't worked twice now, right? He's been solo in that rut 2 times now with the same title of the song happening twice in the album. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Okay, let's go.
No, I was just telling that I got this girl before, and I was together since 3 years, and I was not even cheating her or what. And Facebook arrived, and she wanted me to accept her on Facebook, and I don't want it because I was like in front of her, and she told me like accept me on Facebook. It was virtual, means no sense. So I said, I'm in front of you. I don't need to accept you on Facebook. She started to be crazy. She thought that because I didn't accept her, she thought I was cheating. She told me like it's over. I can't believe you. I said, come on, you're crazy. So like I'm in front of you. I'm every day here in your house, but it means like it's jealousy, pure jealousy, for nothing. Virtual thing.
Facebook story, I think, is just a great commentary on modern connections and how easily they can crumble over such trivial misunderstandings. The whole story is about this guy, and I really love his accent. It's so funny. That meets this girl, and she kind of has problems with him because he doesn't follow her back on Facebook or something. But he's with her all the time. So now she thinks he's cheating because he doesn't want to follow her back on Facebook, and so the relationship ends up breaking over just that minuscule thing, right? And I guess just a story of mistrust over social media, which kind of foreshadows his relational insecurities, and also just again commenting on how it is in real life. The album was released in 2016, so it was definitely relevant for the time, and I think even so, still relevant now in 2025.
I'll be honest, I wasn't devastated, but you could've held my hand through this, baby.
Just when we think we're over this girl from Ivy, he's kind of been solo again, and he's perhaps found God or like switched sides, whatever that may mean. Again, we're back at what it seems like square one, where it's another ode to this girl from Ivy. And it's kind of a song where he knows she's not gonna hear him. It's not gonna work out. And he kind of expresses this saying like, why am I preaching to the choir, to this atheist? Like there's no point in saying this, but I'm still gonna express it regardless, right? He's longing for that unattainable love from an ex from his past life. And I think this imperfect kind of narrative of thinking you're done and then going back and thinking you're done and going back is quite reflective of how it is in real life, which is why I think it's so relatable, right? And then in this ode, he kind of alludes to like an alternative reality where it perhaps could have worked out. Who knows?
Bad luck to talk on these rides. Mine on the road, your dilated eyes. Watch the clouds float, white Ferrari. Had a good time.
And in White Ferrari, the narrative or the alternate reality that we're talking about is exactly what we hear him talking about. The whole song is just him kind of narrating what this alternative reality of it working out with this person would have been like, right? And as the song gets to the end, he gradually resigns back to reality, acknowledging the impossibility of what could have been. It's a very painful song, and I can understand why it's a lot of people's favorites. Personally, it's not my favorite. We'll get to my favorite, which is the next song. But I can understand why it's a lot of people's favorites because I guess there's something comforting in kind of imagining that alternate reality where it could have worked. It's a bittersweet where like at least in your dreams you can think of it, but that's not what the reality is. And that's what that song captures, right? It's mellow, it's kind of dark, but also just still kind of pleasing to the ears. So yeah.
The markings on your surface, your speckled face.
Siegfried, oh my god. This is perfection. Like if the word perfection were like strung into a wave, like a sonic wave, and put on a vinyl to be played as a track, that would be the song for me personally. It's a very introspective and quite abstract song where he's grappling between great bravery and conformity, torn between settling for comfort and pursuing the authenticity that he knows he has within, right? It's very layered and unconventionally structured that mirrors the complexities and in everyday life, right? And it kind of leaves you pondering a long time after the song ends. Every time I get to the song, I kind of have to pause for a little bit. I really like the song. So Siegfried is, I think, a warrior in some mythology that slayed the dragon and won the princess, right? So it's this archetypical um, bravery type of thing. My first connection to the song is when I asked my dad why he named me Caleb, he tells me it's because of Caleb in the Bible's bravery in being a spy for Jesus. And he says that's why he named me. So a lot of the times in my life, I kind of try to act accordingly, although I fail most of the time. 'Cause I don't think I'm brave in that sense. I'm not really like a big risk taker, and that's what the song is about, right? Trying to battle between um settling down and living an idea from another man's mind, right? Of settling down, two kids in a swimming pool and all that. Says he's not brave, right? But also it's kind of like he doesn't want to do that. Deep down he doesn't want to do that because he says he'd rather go to jail. He's tried hell. He'd rather do all these things before settling down. And then towards the end, he kind of gets lost in his thoughts, where he's kind of, it sounds like he's mumbling about thinking of a thought that could dream about a dream. Kind of sounds like some Inception type of thing, finding a glimmer of God. And the way I understand it is that he's lost in his thoughts and kind of looking for something to kind of pull him out of it, to kind of guide him, that a glimmer of God to kind of guide him through, show him the path to take, because um he's such in this state of contrast where he doesn't know what to do, right? Does he be brave? Does he stay true to himself? Is he brave enough to even do that, you know? that's something I very much relate to, not even just with relations, but like with everyday life. And then towards the end of the song, he starts just repeating himself, saying,
For you in the dark, I do for you in the dark.
and clearly here he's now talking again about this girl from Ivy. So he's so clouded in his thoughts. Eventually, he comes back to again to the same thing of he still clearly has a lot of feelings for this person, um, which is quite sad, but also very real, right? Like at this point, you're like, will he ever get over this person? Like, damn, who even is this person? Godspeed, the penultimate track to the album. Just when you feel like Frank isn't ever gonna get over this person, he makes this track like a farewell message to the person from Ivory. Him finally, doing, I guess, the quote unquote perfect goodbye, where he's very respectful and very lovingly letting this person go.
I will always love you how I do. Let go of a prayer for you.
So he's wishing them Godspeed. He lets go of a prayer for them, which then kind of links back to the previous song of him looking for that glimmer of God. So maybe he found that, and that's why he's now letting go of prayer, because he's I guess he's found God, and now he can nicely um let go of whoever this person was to him. It's such a powerful track. I think it takes a level of maturity to let someone go on good timing. I think personally I struggle with that, where like to get over someone, I have to hate you, like, and I will hate you if it means that I can like move on. Obviously, that's not. I'm not saying that's the the right thing to do, or the good thing to do. So when I heard that song, I was like, well, yeah, you're a better man than me. Maybe one day I'll get there. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Future of Free, the album outro. What a song! A 9-minute song. Again, a 2-part song, where he's kind of reflecting on his journey, his accomplishments, and also his regrets. He acknowledges his mother's advice from Be Yourself, and kind of accepts the path that he's taken. So he acknowledges that, yeah, I probably should have listened to you, and maybe it wouldn't have taken this long. Maybe my life wouldn't have turned out this way, but my life has turned out this way. I've done this. So like, even in the imperfection of him going through this, it's ended up where he is now, and he's grateful for that. So I guess that kind of also speaks to the idea that everyone's path is unique, right? There's no perfect straight road towards success or towards finding yourself. It's gonna be like a forest where sometimes you're gonna be going in circles, sometimes you're gonna feel lost, but ultimately you'll end up finding yourself, and you'll end up being in a position where you can reflect on that journey and be like, damn, I made it out of here. Which is a beautiful way to end this story, this 17 track, 1 hour long album. So good. It just encapsulates life's messy beauty just perfectly to round out the story. Blonde, I think, is just more than an album, right? It's a story of growth, of love, heartbreak. All the songs, at least for me, like they're kind of like a blank canvas, like where I just paint with moments from my life, where like each song will remind me of a time of when something and something happened, or some of them I are still blank because obviously I'm still living through it, right? We're still living through life, and so some songs will get repainted, some songs will stay with the same painting, and some songs will remain blank until I'm whatever years old. And then I feel that moment, then I go back to the album and it kind of just paints over the song. So then the next time I listen to it, I'm reminded of that moment. I think that's why this is such a timeless album to me, because it can do that. Not a lot of albums can do that. And just listening to it, it's an entirety, it kind of just offers solace and understanding. You have someone talking about going through something that you may be currently going through or something similar, which is so powerful. Like there was a time where I'd go visit some friends who lived across the city. And then on my way back, um, it'd be like a 40 to an hour long bike ride, where which would depend on the weather and other factors. But I'd start listening to the album from the start of my bike ride, and then by the time I get home, I'm always like either like right around the middle of Future or Free or towards the end. And throughout that bike ride is just a nice way to like reflect on his story and kind of live vicariously through that because of how strong the similarities are, I think, with a lot of people. So if I haven't convinced you by now to listen to this album, then maybe you're lost cause.
What's your first memory?
The first word I learned to say, or that I ever said.
What's the most amazing thing you've ever witnessed?